What's up guys? Today I wanted to bring you a video on how cheap Flesh and Blood playables are currently. Due to Nationals being the most recent big event back in November and the expectation that Everfest is going to shake up the meta, prices are at an all-time low right now. This is an amazing time for anybody that's been waiting to make upgrades to their deck or waiting to try a new deck out altogether. I picked 5 cards from Welcome to Wraith and 5 cards from Arcane Rising that I believe are great pickups to make before Everfest releases in early February and ProQuest begins in late February. Starting off with Welcome to Wraith, we have Scab Skin Leathers at about $51, $52, and this is very undervalued for a legendary, and the source being that Doomsday is roughly the same price, right? So Levia is always going to run Doomsday and Scab Skins. But then in addition to that, Reinhardt is always going to run Scab Skins. So just by simple math, this card should be valued at higher than Doomsday at the very least, which is good news for any Brute player or anybody who wanted to try playing Brute. Next we have Ancestral Empowerment, Ninja, Majestic, Attack Reaction, very powerful card. Coming in at under $3, just really low price for such a powerhouse card, staple in any Ninja deck, can't go wrong. Flint the Quicksilver, Warrior, Majestic, Attack Reaction. This card is about $320, $350 give or take. There was a time when this card was, I think, $10 a piece, so you could get an entire playset for what would have been one card in the past. So if you were patient on filling out your Warrior deck, congratulations to you. Moving on to Blood Rush Bellow. This is the Brute Majestic that makes both Levia and Reinhardt run. This is a very unique card because there isn't really a viable replacement for it in the common or rare slot. It's not something that can really be downgraded or upgraded. This is just like the card for Brute. So for only $4 a piece, this is a great deal. I think this is about $8, $9, even as little as a couple months ago. So if you've been looking for these, I think now is the time. Final card in the WTR block, Tome of Fyendel. This of course being a generic, meaning it can be ran in any deck. So these are always going to be pricier than the class-specific cards. So it's coming in at $18, which is much more than some of the other Majestics we've gone over, but for good reason. This is a very fun and very powerful card. The main thing holding it back is that it can really only be ran in a few decks currently since it doesn't have natural go again, but we've seen LSS start adding in more ways to play this as an instant or for heroes to gain action points, so I think in the future this could be a staple in all decks. Moving on to the first of the Arcane Rising batch, we have Chains of Eminence, a generic super rare, and this one is a bit of a spec because we saw this card be very popular during the previous Road to Nats season when Chain was so dominant. You'd call out Seeds of Agony with this and completely nullify it. So this card's main viability is it's used to shut down if there is, say, an overpowered card prior to it being banned. So buying this card is a hedge on that happening in the future. And I think that it's a good hedge to make because at only $1 a copy, get an entire playset for $3, you won't have to worry about it if some card starts running rampant in the future. Next up we have High Octane. This is a Majestic for the Mechanologist class, not a dash specialization, so this would be a potential card to use if they do print a new Mechanologist hero in the future. $7.50 to $8 a copy. This is actually pretty cheap for Arcane Rising Majestics currently. The supply is very low on that set, and I actually think that Dash is the strongest hero in that set, so by simple math again, I would say this is one of the most undervalued cards in the set currently. Now we have a super rare for the Mechanologist class, Spark of Genius. This is the card that lets you search for an item in your deck. Now this card is a Dash specialization, so it will only ever be playable in Dash. But Dash is one of the heroes that's proven to be very consistent throughout all metas, and unless you're playing super aggressive boost Dash, you'll want to be running those items, the Induction Chambers, Plasma Purifiers, and you need Spark of Genius to go fish out those cards. So $2.50 to $3 seems like a great deal for something like this. 3 in a row, I love my undervalued Mechanologist cards. Induction Chamber, this is a super rare, and this is one of those items I mentioned that you'll fish out with Spark of Genius. You want to run 3 of these in your deck. It gives your pistols go again, you want to shoot a lot. Under $2 for this is even more surprising than Spark of Genius at 250. You I would say you absolutely need these cards to play Dash. So for it to just be $2, really just it doesn't make sense to me. Last but not least, we have Art of War. It's a generic Majestic. Has been an extremely busted card in the past in regards to Chain specifically, and very good in Ninja as well. Um, this card being $34 is very low. I think a lot of negativity has been priced in because people are assuming that it's going to be reprinted in Everfest. I personally don't believe that's going to happen. So if you wanted to take the safe route, I would say picking up this card is a good idea because I just think the odds of them reprinting 3 generic Majestics is pretty low. That does it for Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising. My goal is to release a video doing more or less the same thing on Crucible of War and Monarch before Everfest spoilers start. I really think that the time is ticking on getting these cards at such low values. We usually do see price spikes during spoiler season, during meta shifts, and then of course with competitive play coming back with ProQuest in late February.